So I think this week has been a real sort of highlight of where Marvel is at the moment in terms of the MCU, and yeah, it's a lot of coping by the looks of things. So first off, the Loki season 2 finale. Now, yeah, I just didn't really have any interest in watching Loki season 2. I thought the first one was absolutely abysmal. And when I heard some news about season 2, I think it was when like the 3rd or 4th episode was already out, when I heard the fact that Michael Waldron, who made the first season, he just sort of up and left by the time the finale was about to be shot. So the new writer for season 2 had to go back to season 1, basically redo everything, and then do the whole season finale by himself. Like, I genuinely cannot comprehend why Marvel saw someone who did that to their own show and then decided to give them the second Doctor Strange movie. So it's very obvious that, like, there's just no sort of leadership, there's no sort of commitment to these projects from quite a few of the writers and the directors that are on these projects. So yeah, you've got the whole Michael Waldron thing where obviously so now we know that he just left Loki season 1 as a complete shit tip, and then he went over to Multiverse of Madness, and then he was basically just writing as it was going on. Because if you hear a lot of, I can't really find them, there's just far too much behind the scenes stuff to try and find like a 30-second clip. But if you've ever watched a Mauler video or something like that, you know the clip I'm on about, where he's just saying that he had no idea how to get stuff like done, how to write stuff. So we know that's because he did like 2/3 of the script for Multiverse of Madness, then they shot the script, and then they had to wait for him to write the final third. And then obviously there's the Blade news, and Blade is just, I don't know how that hasn't come out yet. There's no reason why a Blade movie should be taking this long to come out. It didn't need that budget, it should have been R-rated, and there's absolutely no need to make Blade the 4th star in his own film to focus on a female character and promoting themes. I'm fine with people having themes and trying to promote messages and stuff like that, but when you're doing that as a detriment to the thing you're working on, just don't bother. So anyways, Loki season 2. As I said, I wasn't going to watch it. Apparently people were saying that the season finale is really good, so I haven't seen the full season. I don't intend to see the full season, but I made sure to watch the stuff that was necessary to understand the plot. So yeah, I didn't intend to watch the whole season, I just watched the parts that I needed to watch to understand, and yeah, then I looked at what happened in the season finale. And then we get some really hard coping from some people. Now, as you can see on my luxurious Twitter profile, please feel free to check that out, there are people who are doing this. Now, some of these posts are just going, oh look, the time stone's green, Loki's green, this whole big tree dimension thing where he's at is green, doesn't it all tie in together? Now, if that's fine, there's been there's been plenty of times in movies and franchises where something that was pointed out in an earlier episode or an earlier movie comes back into play in the later movies, and it's not because it was designed to be that way, they've just taken an opportunity and done that. So it's very obvious that here what's happened is Loki's associated with green, so is the Time Stone, and they've done all of this multiverse time travel project bullshit from Loki, so just tie them together. Just do that. And you know what? That's fine. It's when you get stuff like this. Now, as you can see, I've already made my disapproval very clear, but I've already talked about how Across the Spider-Verse can't tie in with the MCU, so I don't know why. This guy, by the way, he is just clickbait incarnate. If you're on the online comic book Twitter community, he was the one who created the whole what if Peacemaker ripped off his shirt and wore Rick Flag's shirt in remembrance of him and said, Peacemaker, what a joke, you know? That's who this guy is. And it's stuff like this, where they say, coincidence or planned. Now, there's a lot of posts like this, but yeah, it's just the fact that people are thinking that this has been planned, as if 2016 Marvel were going, oh, 2015 actually, because that's when they would have been shooting Doctor Strange. They were thinking, oh, let's make the time stone green, so then Loki can become this god of time, and it can be green for him. And the amount of cope that I'm seeing in some of these comments is just ridiculous. So yeah, that's been some coping from fans, but there's also been some trailers. Now, obviously, I'm going to do the Marvels now, because I don't care about the Marvels. I have no intention of seeing the Marvels. And when I've heard the behind the scenes stuff and what the directors said, it's a fun and quirky and kooky movie unlike anything else in the MCU. Calling your MCU movie funny and quirky and unique isn't unique, you know, that's just how it's been for like the past few years because they haven't had anything of substance. But I've heard a lot about this trailer. So here's the thing about this trailer. I haven't seen it, but I've heard it's trying to make things proper serious and really sort of harken back to the other movies. So let's give it a quick look. And I can already tell by this that they're desperately trying to do that, because there's no reason for Tony Stark to be here, but there's definitely no reason for Tony Stark looking like that to be here, because that wasn't his look in Endgame, which is when Captain Marvel really came into the limelight with the other Avengers. So let's just look.
Heroes. It's an old-fashioned notion, but the world can still use.
So yeah, I don't know why, but they're focusing on Iron Man and Captain America as if that is in any way going to be relevant to the Marvels. I can already tell it isn't, but let's keep going.
So,
I'm ready.
whatever it takes. Whatever it takes.
So, yeah, so Captain America and Iron Man and possibly Thor and Hulk, they're like the most recognizable, I guess, from the OG cast. So what they're doing here is making it apparent that, oh, Captain Marvel, she's on par with these two. She wasn't. She was in one boring fucking movie that everyone only watched because they hyped up how important Captain Marvel was in the film. And I guess she is important, but she's got nowhere near the prevalence that people thought she would have. So that's why her film made $1 billion. Now you've got a sequel to a film that came out 4 years ago that most people who actually look at what's on screen thought at most, wow, this is boring. So you've got that, you've got the rest of the MCU at the moment that is just going downhill. There's been a few ups, but nothing to stop it from going down. And then you've got the other two main leads, one of which has a TV show that I haven't looked at. Miss Marvel might be good, I don't know. I've heard that she's just the whole bubbly girl that every MCU character is becoming now. And then you've got Monica Rambeau, who the last time we saw her in WandaVision was saying that people will never understand the sacrifice that Wanda did after Wanda released the 4,000 hostages that she was keeping because she couldn't deal with her own losses. So already, all I know about this film is the three leads are a generic girl, a boring girl, and a moron girl. Not a great start. So yeah, that's why they're like, just listen.
We destroyed Thanos. But it's not over.
Right, so now they're bringing in Thanos, and if you hear in the background, they've got the Avengers tune. Now, the reason why they've got that is because, for the life of me, I cannot tell you what the theme tune is for Captain Marvel. I've got no clue. I don't know any piece of music that's associated with her. So that's why they're doing it, because they have nothing else.
My work is inevitable. There will always be more to finish it.
So, yeah, so this is someone, I guess, who believed Thanos was right. And she's got Ronan's hammer, which looks like it has, like, the Power Stone in it. But that does not make any sense because it should be reduced to atoms or whatever. So, like I say, I'm not seeing it. The film's probably already come out by the time this goes out. But I've got no idea what they're doing.
This is just the beginning.
So I kind of, in terms of like villain, like what sort of villain I think she's gonna be, I think she's basically just gonna be what you call him, Malekith from Thor: The Dark World. Just some ominous villain who just wants to destroy everything.
She tore a hole in space. There's a different reality leading into ours.
Yeah, so she's just destroying the universe again. She's a Thanos that's had no sort of build-up, no sort of dread associated with her name. She's just trying to destroy stuff, I guess.
What are you prepared to do?
I'm convinced.
Right, so I'm invincible, and that's precisely one of the reasons I cannot care about this character. We saw her just demolish everything in the final battle of Endgame, and in her final battle in the first film, like, she's just invincible. There's nothing for me to grab. If you're gonna do an invincible character, you've got to give her some sort of other weakness that people can play off. You know, usually it's something to do with fighting against her personality or her mind or something. The thing is, she's got no personality, really. So I've got no clue about how they could do something against her. She's just a boring character.
Your powers only make me stronger.
So you can't be matched. Can't be controlled.
Also, another thing that I'm seeing in this battle here, I thought the whole point of this film was that whenever they're using their powers, they switch around. But here, we see them just do that and they're fine. So either that's sorted out at the end of the movie, or that's just going to be a problem. But we'll have to see. Be there for the moment that changes everything.
I'm asking.
Right. Be there for the moment that changes everything. That's not something you put for a film that the director described as just a fun and quirky film. So as you can tell, they're really trying to hype up the importance of this film because it just doesn't have anything going for it. So yeah, I can totally see why it's going to flop in the theaters, why it's projected to flop. There's just nothing here.
For one last fight.
One last fight. I think I've heard that before. Is that... Have they just taken a clip? I don't know. Let's... Oh. That looked bad.
You cannot protect your people.
But you can stand tall.
Oh yeah, so Valkyrie's in this apparently. Yeah, I that's fine, I guess. I don't know. If she just shows up and then doesn't help in the fight, despite the fact that we've seen that she's like a very strong and capable warrior, that will be a bit confusing. But also, who's she saying this to?
You can stand tall.
Oh, so she's saying it to Captain Marvel, which I genuinely don't think they've had any interaction with each other at all. But
Without standing alone.
They're here.
oh, right, so I've heard that this is bringing in the X-Men, and that's what the other dimension is. Now, this looks like the underground room from the X-Men films, but it could just be a futuristic hospital. If the whole point, if the thing that's going to change everything is that it's going to bring in the X-Men, that really should be at the forefront of your campaign. You don't have to do a full reveal, but you've got to have a solid hint that that's what's happening. And I don't just mean like an X that stays on the screen a bit longer. I mean something from the footage. Because otherwise you've just got a film, apparently, that's just about the Marvels. So if you're trying to hype up the X-Men, you have to hype up the X-Men. And I don't know.
The Marvels, rated PG-13.
Uh-oh.
Monica, you gotta fly.
No.
Black girl magic.
Oh, I know that's like... That was probably a line that they thought was serious with a little bit of humour on, but I just can't... That's funny. Oh, they've really... Like, Sam Jackson, I appreciate that he's dedicated to the character, but he really needs to just learn to say, no, I'm not going to be associated with this. So that's the Marvels. It doesn't look very good. It's probably already been shitted on by now, but yeah, it's... What an abysmal trailer, where you have to rely on films that came out years ago that have nothing really to do with the characters here to try and sell your movies. Now, the next thing that we've got up is Kraven the Hunter. The thing about this is, apparently, Sony and Marvel are going to be working a bit more closely so that everything's, you know, everything's part of the same universe. You know, you've got Marvel Studios and Sony Pictures. This film seems like shit, but, you know, I want to see it anyways because, I mean, Sony have just been... I've got a Venom video coming up about how terrible Sony's been, and this just looks like another garbage pile-up of villains that they stopped making as villains. So, let's have a look. So I hate this already. There's no reason why you need a trailer before your trailer. That's just garbage. So it's already off to a shit start, but let's keep going.
My son, never show mercy. They are prey.
At the moment, he seems like an anti-hero at most, because he's chasing down some bad guys in a car, and he's... yeah, I don't know, let's...
The predators.
Oh, it's Russell Crowe. Oh, Russell. This is going to be like the third bad superhero film you're in.
Boys, your mother is dead.
She died because you sent her away.
She was weak, sick in her mind. You know my business, yes?
So I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know a lot about Kraven the Hunter as a character. I know he's Russian, obviously, but hopefully this isn't too bad of a start. It definitely seems to imply that he's got an evil history, so maybe he is a lot more villainous than the trailer seems so far.
Power is about strength. If you show weakness, you will give our enemies an opening. Shoot. Shoot. He is weak, like his mother. Leave him.
That's kind of like an interesting start to a villain, I guess. You're raised to always be like a social Darwinist, basically. But at the last second, you can't do it. So your father disowns you? I don't know, that's interesting idea, I guess.
What happened that day?
I stared death in the face, and for the first time, I saw my true self.
So, what? So he gets bitten by a lion, and that gives him powers. Is it a radioactive lion? Right, they're gonna have to explain that, because if it is literally just he got bit by a lion and some of its blood went in his blood, that's hilarious.
Tell me about this hunter. They say he uses a connection with animals to track his prey. And once you're on his list, there's only one way off.
There's 6 of us, and only one of you.
There's 6 of you now.
So, alright, he controls animals. That's an interesting premise, I guess. And he seems to be going to town on some mercenaries. Right. Okay, at least it's got the violence.
Why do you hunt?
My father puts evil into the world. I take it out.
Right, yeah, so he is going to be a good guy. He's hunting bad people like his dad. So yeah, again, they've just taken a villain, made them good. I don't know why they keep doing this and then having their movies flop.
I think you're some kind of honor. You are exactly like our father. Just another man hunting for a trophy.
We're murderers.
So it's acting like he's the villain that's being made, but as the trailer's already pointed out, he's hunting bad people. Ah.
Isn't that what he taught us?
You don't get to do that to me anymore.
Mr. Taglin? Mr. Taglin? Where's Mr. Taglin?
Oh, you're standing in him.
You're a goddamn lunatic.
Oh, you...
I don't know. He's just an assassin, basically. So yeah, I don't think this movie's gonna be good because the whole point of him is he hunts what he thinks is the biggest prey, whether that's a villain or a good guy. But here he's just a good guy who thinks he's bad.
You just figure that out now.
Like, the action doesn't even seem that bad. I can just tell that the story is either gonna be really bad or it's gonna be completely disingenuous to the source material.
There is an animal in each one of us.
Don't you want to know why they call me the Rhino?
Ah, okay. So, the Rhino's gonna be in it. So, we've had Venom, Morbius, Carnage, and now we're gonna have Kraven and Rhino, but still Sony won't put a Spider-Man in their movies. Oh, right. Yeah, honestly, I'll probably just end up seeing this film just because, I don't know, Sony films always make me laugh at least. But yeah, Loki and the Marvels and everything we've heard about Blade and Daredevil, yeah, it all just doesn't seem to be going well for Marvel, which I think is natural. They've pushed themselves far past the limit of what they should have done. You should not need to see 2 TV shows and a film to understand something new. Yeah, I don't know. It's looking like even the possible X-Men coming back isn't going to be enough. I will probably see Deadpool 3, but that's because it's Deadpool and I know I will enjoy it even if it's not good. Everything else, I don't know what's coming up that could possibly be good for Marvel, for the MCU. Oh, actually, Echo might be alright. I've just seen that trailer over here. Yeah, that actually looks decent, but that's because it's not designed for everyone. It's designed, I think it's releasing on like the Hulu section of Disney, or like the more mature section of Disney Plus. So they've actually been able to focus it and not make it just pander to everyone. So Echo, Deadpool 3, and I'll probably see Kraven the Hunter, but everything else I just don't care about at the moment. So yeah, thank you all for listening to my thoughts on stuff. This is probably not what you're used to with my content if you're a regular here, but you know, I think it's a good way to break up the wait while you're waiting for my normal videos, instead of me just posting like a random game clip every now and then. And yeah, I don't know, I think it helps to get more of my normal perspective on something instead of my analytical one, I guess. I guess it expresses me. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this. Please consider liking and subscribing if you did, and checking out some of my other videos if possible. If you're feeling really generous, please consider my Patreon or giving through YouTube membership. And overall, I just hope you had a great day, and hopefully I will see you in the next video.